We tried to swap one time. We came to this massive car park, and I was fed up of him telling me, to sort of pedal harder or do this or do that when you can't do anything. Why can't you see this? Why can't you do that? Well,
so we're having a domestic.
We were having a domestic. And I stamped my feet and said, you get on the bloody back of this bike and I'll get on the front. So I got on the front and he got on the back, and 4 times we took off and 4 times he jumped off the back. He could not relinquish control, because you don't control anything on the back.
You don't move the handlebars.
You can't steer, you can't change gear, you can't brake.
Not for me.
And you don't set the rate of pedalling, whereas the person on the front does all that.
Welcome to Seek Travel Ride, where we share the stories and experiences of people taking amazing adventures by bike. Whether it's crossing state borders, mountain ranges, countries or continents, we want to share that spirit of adventuring on 2 wheels with our listeners. Hello listeners, Bella Malloy here, host of the show, and I am stoked for the episode I've got coming up for you today. Back in July this year, I was cycling towards Toulouse on the Canal du Midi. It was a ridiculously hot day. Ice cream was called for, and when I pulled into a Lockhouse cafe, I couldn't help but notice a rather cheerful couple sat opposite me wearing matching cycling kit. They were clearly not letting the heat get to them, and I could tell they were enjoying everything about the day. Hearing their laughter was energising, and as the host of a podcast all about taking bike adventures, when I spotted their loaded up tandem, I of course had to strike up the conversation and find out more about them. And that's how I met a guest for today's episode, Di Lockhart and Colin Calder. Ice Cream had, I set off, but not without getting their details and a promise to connect for a podcast session. Since then, I've had the chance to learn more about their story through their blog, Matilda's Musings, where they've documented their journeys together from the perspective of their tandem bike, Matilda, or more recently, E-Matilda. They've taken on some great cycle tours across their homeland of Scotland, England and Europe. Often it has to be said with a theme based around food and some wine. When I met them, they were bound for a journey along the length of the Canal du Midi, and even the heat wave we were facing didn't seem to dampen their spirits. Now, one of the most inspiring parts of their story is learning how they've embraced taking these tandem adventures on while living with the recent reality of Colin's stage 4 prostate cancer diagnosis. Rather than slowing down, they've chosen to make the most of life and keep doing what brings them joy. It's also a way of showing that life can and does continue even in the face of health adversity. Indeed, prior to them taking on the Canal du Midi, they'd just finished the Grand Depart Classic, riding 115 miles in a single day, completing the full stage 1 of this year's Tour de France. And I'm speaking to them having just recently finished the Tour de 4 in Glasgow, a charity fundraiser ride all about changing perceptions of those with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. I cannot wait to learn all about this dynamic duo, hear about what it's like to tour on a tandem bike, and how their travels are continuing to shape their outlook on life. Di and Colin, you absolute dead set legends, a big warm welcome to the show.
And a big warm welcome from Scotland.
Yeah, hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How is bonnie Scotland?
It's sunny today. It was pretty wet yesterday on the Tour de 4 and we got soaked. But, when you're raising money for such a good causes as charity, as cancer charities, it doesn't really matter, to be honest, at the end of the day.
Well, no.
Oh, you've both got big smiles on your faces, which is exactly how I remembered you from the Canal du Midi near Toulouse.
We don't have a glass of wine in our hand, though.
No.
No. You had an ice cream in your hand back that day. I've got a heap of questions for you, Di and Colin, but the question I start my show with, and I ask it of all my guests, is, do you remember the very first bike you ever rode? So, ladies first, Di, I'm going to go with you. Tell me about your very first bike.
Well, the very first bike, you mean when I was little?
Absolutely.
Oh, crikey crumbs. Well, there's a wee backstory to that. I was a very bad asthmatic as a child. And living in Auchterarder in Scotland, which is like Rome, it's built on 7 hills, the opportunity to cycle wasn't that great for someone who couldn't breathe very well. And drugs in those days weren't as great as they are now. So I didn't do a lot of cycling, and I hadn't had a bike from the age of 11.
Until
I met Colin.
So it was second time around for both of us, and we met online, as you do nowadays. And so we set up a first date. So effectively it was a blind date because we hadn't actually met each other than looking at a picture of each other.
Uh-huh.
And we decided we would go to one of Scotland's most beautiful lochs, Loch Katrine.
I've ridden there, just to interject, I've ridden there with one of my greatest friends, Alison. Hi, Alison. I know you're tuning in. You're a super fan and I love you. Sorry, as you were.
So we arrived at the car park, thought we'd go for a little walk and a picnic, and I looked across to a hut that was hiring bikes. Had a quick wander across, said, "Do you ride a bike?" And she naturally said...
I said, yes, with my fingers crossed behind my back.
And then we saw this tandem and said, oh, why don't we take a tandem? So we did actually meet on a blind date on a tandem. And yes, it's true. Nobody really believes that, but it is actually true. So we hired the tandem, got on the Walter Scott boat steamship down to the bottom of the loch, which is about 14 miles. Mm-hmm. And then obviously have to cycle back up.
From Stronach.
And it was absolutely hammering down with rain, as it always is at Scottish Loch by that time. And we set off. I hadn't probably ridden a bike for maybe 3 or 4 years either. You hadn't ridden a bike, as you said, for many, many years. We set off, lovely flat round the corner, not used to the gears, etc. Round the corner, big steep hill. I changed the gears in the wrong direction, which made it much harder. The bike ground to a halt very rapidly, and I
fell off the back.
Oh my goodness!
Right off of
right into a puddle. I'm sitting on my backside in a puddle in the pouring rain.
And she laughed. And that is why we're still here. That's why we're here.
It was so ridiculous.
So she's sitting in the puddle, she laughed, and I thought, that's a girl I want to know more about.
Oh my gosh, I love everything about this story. And do you know what? Having ridden Loch Katrine, I rode Loch Katrine in May this year when Scotland had the most incredible weather known to man. In fact, I was there for about 5 or 6 days and I did not see a single cloud in the sky.
Beautiful.
But I'm going to say, I think I know the dirty big hill that you're probably talking about, because there are some little steep hill. I descended down a steep hill and you would have gone up that one, and yeah, it goes on and on and on for a little bit, and it's nice and pinchy. You're not on a rail trail on this tandem bike of yours.
No, it's up and down. So we managed.
It's beautiful though.
To get up to the top end to do the 14 miles, or 13 miles, whatever it is, and decided that we would have another date, and just kind of grew arms and legs. I decided to move up from Glasgow to Auchterarder to be with Di. And then there was a story about you've been telling you run a hairdressing salon. Oh yeah,
well, once we'd been on the date, I have a hairdressing salon, and one of my clients was in, and we were chatting away. What did you do at the weekend? Well, I met this guy, and we hired a tandem, and blah blah blah. Went for a ride, and I said, and we both really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And she said, I've got a tandem. Oh, have you? Yeah. She says, yeah. She says, and we're going to Australia. Do you want to buy the tandem? And I went, well, can we come and see it? And she said, of course you can. She says, I'll get my husband, Colin, to give you a phone. So Colin phoned. We arranged to go along when my Colin came up that weekend. And he said, why don't you take the tandem away for a while, take it home. They lived in the next village, which is about 3.5 miles away. So we cycled home from the village on the tandem for the first time, got back to Auchterarder, put the bike in my garden, and we both stood back and looked at it. And we both looked at each other and went, we want this.
This is like serendipity. Everything about your story is serendipity. It's meant to be, isn't it? The fact that the tandem was previously owned by another Colin.
Exactly.
Yeah, third and fourth date, we now were the joint owners of a tandem. I was actually wondering how we could, half it down the middle if things went wrong at that stage. So we could sell my. So I could sell my.
Who got custody?
Exactly. Who got custody of the tandem?
Yeah, exactly.
And the rest is kind of history. We decided that we would move in together, and of course the house had to have a garage, so we could put Matilda in the garage, and it became Matilda's Rest. which is the kind of informal name for the house, which is obviously used well on the blog. And we've lots of adventures on Old Matilda. And I'm sure you'll touch on this later, but we then decided that we were getting quite old fogies. And as Di mentioned, after Adler being built on 7 hills, it was always an uphill slog coming back home.
Oh, do you live at the top of a hill?
Well, it doesn't matter which direction you go. You either go uphill to get out and come downhill to go home, or the opposite. Or you go downhill from the house and then it's all uphill to come home. And we're talking
about quite big hills, and obviously Old Matilda was part of our life. Yeah. She's still hanging up in the garage.
Yes. She a hefty lass, Old Matilda?
Oh, yeah, she's a steel-framed.
Yes, an old Jack Taylor
classic tandem.
Very heavy, though. And we decided to go to the dark side, as people keep saying to us nowadays. And about, 2.5 years ago now, decided to get an E-Tandem. So it's got double batteries, it's got everything on it. It's the price of a small car, but it's what we do, it's what we're about, and we just love it.
Much enjoyment is being had now on E-Matilda.
Oh, much, definitely.
Di smiles all the time now.
Well, yeah, it was always a bit daunting going out in the old Tandem because I've always got out of breath so much. I'm still asthmatic, and
that's what Power Sister for.
And now I don't have to worry.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. I've had a friend of mine who's got an e-bike, and they think the E stands for enabler because it enables them to experience and see so many different things. And funnily enough, I've just come back from a week in Northern Ireland visiting my husband's relatives, and his awesome uncle Noel did everything he could possibly do to find 2 more bikes along with his bike so my husband, himself and I could each go for a ride. It's been something we've been scheming for like the last 5 years, and we made it happen. And funnily enough, Noel, who's very fit and active now in his mid-70s, he was on his road bike and he'd found us, my husband and I, 2 e-bikes. So we sort of thought, hang on a minute, how does this work? This feels like it's not right. And it was a revelation to me. It's the first time I've ever really been on an e-bike, and I just thought, oh, this is amazing. Every takeoff was so smooth. It didn't matter what the intersection did. If there was a pinch up or anything, I was at it and I wasn't worrying about how long the climb was going to be or where it ended. But I will admit, I stubbornly, in solidarity with Uncle Noel, didn't really use the facility of the E, but I had it there and I loved it. And I just love seeing so many more of them around now because people are enabling themselves to do things that they otherwise would not do.
Absolutely.
Very much so. Totally. And if you're saying that the fun of an e-bike as a solo, you basically double the fun, as they say in the Tandem Club.
It would be revelationary as a tandem. Oh my gosh, yes.
It's the best thing. It really is. Has totally transformed our tandeming and our adventures.
Absolutely.
And as you say, we always did kind of tandem with a smile on our face, but the smile's got even...
the smiles are broader.
Even broader. But it's quite amusing just to go back for a second, the fact that we had the tandem purchased after about 4 weeks of meeting each other. And much prior to any kind of decisions about us
anything else
getting together. So the tandem came first and love came second, or did love come first and then the tandem came along?
Love for the tandem came first and then it came to us. There you go.
You were heavily invested, so it had to work out.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the modern way of living is two people get together, they have a baby first, then they buy a house, and then they get married. Well, obviously, being 50-something, we weren't going to do the baby thing, so we got a tandem, and then it started from there. Then the house.
And then 3 years ago, we did actually get married on a beach in a west coast island called Millport.
Mm-hmm.
And
west of Scotland.
Matilda was very much part of the proceedings. We walked down onto the beach to Daisy,
give me your answer, do, and all that
kind of stuff. And she was the altar, if you want to put it that way, while the celebrant or the registrar did the ceremony on the beach. So yes, very intrinsically.
I love this. It's the tandem is, isn't it? You're intertwined. The tandem is stoking your fire.
Was it
boom boom for the stoker, right?
Was it Princess Diana that famously said there's three of us in this relationship, so we always say there's three of us in this relationship: Di, me, and Matilda,
That's
or Matilda.
I love how you write your blog from the perspective of Matilda and Matilda now. And I love that the Tandem has been front and centre. I have a question for you about tandems. Actually, I've got a couple of questions. I did reach out to one of my bestest friends. Hello, Pam. And Pam lives in Australia, and she has been part of a charity called Fitability, where she pilots a tandem for people who, without a pilot, would not be able to get out on a bike. And I said, Pam, I'm interviewing a tandem couple, finally. Have you got a question for them? And she does. And her question is, assuming they are both sighted, which you are, I'd like to ask them if they ever swap between stoker and pilot and if they find it more sustainable sharing the load.
So there's a one-word answer to that, and then Di can explain. The one-word answer is absolute. What's two words?
That's 2 words.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Okay, who's the pilot? Who's the stoker?
Well, I'm the stoker, and he is always Mr. In Control. We tried to swap one time. We came to this massive car park, and I was fed up of him telling me, to sort of pedal harder or do this or do that when you can't do anything. Why can't you see this? Why can't you do that? Well,
So we're having a domestic.
We were having a domestic. And I stamped my feet and said, you get on the bloody back of this bike and I'll get on the front. So I got on the front and he got on the back, and 4 times we took off and 4 times he jumped off the back. He could not relinquish control because you don't control anything on the back.
You can move the handlebars.
You can't steer, you can't change gear, you can't brake.
Not for me.
And you don't set the rate of pedalling, whereas the person on the front does all that.
Oh, so is there part of you that wishes you could swap between each other?
No.
Die.
Yeah. Sometimes I'd like to see where I'm going, because Colin will say something about what he's seeing up ahead and he gets annoyed because I haven't seen it. I thought I've got to look to the side or wait till we're going round a corner and I get a different angled view of the road.
What we need is a forward-facing camera and a screen in my back.
Listen, there's enough technology on that bike as it is. Somebody once described the front handlebars of our Tandem as, was it groaning with technology? Colin's got more gizmos and gadgets on the front of this blooming bike than you could imagine.
But it's a very valid point about seeing, because we have to really have a tandem language, don't we? A sort of very much communication.
Well, actually, that nearly brings me back to Pam's second question, which she did, to be fair to her, have. She said, if one is visually impaired, which you're not, but you did bring up that you don't see what the pilot sees, so I'm going to ask you this anyway. She said, I'd ask them, how do they share information about the terrain? How do they communicate on the level of effort needed for different terrain and generally share the visual experience? So this is sort of apt for both of you regardless. So I'd love you to answer that question as well.
Sort of apt, I think, in terms of we have our own kind of communication. I would say left and I go, which left?
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
The other one.
The other one. I do the sort of steering, and Di does all directions and telling me about traffic, big lorries coming up behind and stuff. Lorry coming!
Yeah. Colin usually just sort of has the route on his element roam or whatever we're using, and he'll say, okay, pedal, which means we're coming to a hill. So I don't get any information about what's coming up, because in days gone by when we had old Matilda, if he said we're coming up to a hill, I sort of went, panic stations, breathing got a bit faster before I needed to and all that kind of stuff. So he just shouts pedal. So now he just says keep pedaling, and it's so much easier. But but there's
lots of communication.
Lots of communication especially for starting and stopping. Colin will say, right, we're stopping in 3, 2, 1. This one.
Just trying to find a suitable pavement.
You've got to find which one.
But going off is easy, so I will say 3, 2, 1. So yesterday on the Chris Hoy event, we're in waves of about 50 riders. So there's always quite a number of riders behind us that was going through a series of traffic lights at some point. We're going, pedal. That's her signal to get the pedal in the right angle.
Get my pedal
and everybody's turning around going, what pedal? And then 3, 2, 1, go. No, we're away before you.
It was so cool because people around the bike were going, oh, look, it's a tandem. Oh, that's so cool. Now, do they mean that that's smart or cheesy or, you know?
It does attract a huge amount of attention. I mean, I know we probably do. We're not exactly publicity shy, which is one of the reasons we're doing this.
Oh, I am.
We do the matching outfits, as I've seen them.
I definitely saw your matching outfits, and you were very resplendent in them. Listeners, I will no doubt be posting a photo of the selfie I took with all three of us in that, actually.
We were in sort of Tour de Four jerseys, which were sort of matched up of the 4 Tour de France jerseys of the dots, the green jersey, the white jersey, and the leader's jersey, the yellow jersey. So it was like 4 different panels, if I remember rightly. So
you could choose which one you wanted to be each day, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That got a lot of attention, obviously in France, and just doing the same, wearing the same kits here all the time. I've probably got about 10 different. Which one are we wearing today, Di?
And the bike gets a lot of attention too. I mean, we've been in places where we've been sitting having a picnic. And there was one day we were in the Loire and we were sitting having a picnic at this picnic table. The bike was parked at the edge of a path.
This is the old one, the
classic
Jack Taylor
Tandem,
classic one.
Jack Daniels. Jack Taylor, sorry. Freudian slip.
Oh my gosh, you are so in sync, which you need to be for a tandem, but you're finishing each other's sentences. You're 2 peas in a pod for sure. I love it.
Back to the park and the Jack Taylor Tandem.
Jack Taylor Tandem. And we're sitting having our Prosecco picnic as usual. And this guy's walking past with a camera over his arm, just walking past. And he sort of did a double take and he came back and he said, excuse me, is this your bike? Is that a Jack Taylor?
And he was so hyper excited.
Yes. Oh my God. And then he got down on his knees and he was looking underneath for the serial number for the frame. And he's taken a photograph to see if it was an original one. And
he's like stroking the
And he's literally stroking the bike.
It's an interesting fetish.
I said very knowledgeably, of course, you'll see it's still got the original French cranks. And he went, oh, wow. It was weird. It was just Appreciation Society. What a geek.
So that's on the JD, on the fact that it was original. It's not JD Tandem.
No, it's Jack Taylor.
Jack Taylor Tandem. But even every time we go out, we always pass people, and obviously you get she's no peddling on the back, and if we had £1 for every time or €1 every time someone said that, we'd be very, very rich. But it just attracts an awful lot of attention. People just you pass kids and they're going, double bike, mummy, double bike, daddy. And all this kind of stuff, and then of course the older ones were maybe packed up for a picnic somewhere, and you meet.
I remember my granny and granddad going out in the tandem. We all went on holiday. They had the kids in the middle, and there was a wee trailer on the back for all the clothes. And it's just people talk to you when you're in a tandem. You're an object of fun.
Yeah. And it's different. It's a point of difference. It's interesting. It's unique.
Absolutely.
And you two are such lovely people to chat to as well. You have some interesting stories to have shared as well. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you will already know I'm a big fan of Zirali. They are an independent Aussie brand all about getting people outdoors. I have been wearing their gear on my rides and just in general. And recently I have been loving their trekking sandals. And the thing that I really love about them is that they are grippy, not slippy, which means if I want to explore around camp or maybe even go on a bit of a hike on some rocky terrain or steep uphill or downhill, I can do it with these sandals and not worry that I don't have the right footwear for it. Now, if you want to check out Zirali and support the podcast at the same time, click the Zirali link in the show notes. Now back to the episode. Something that I wanted to ask was, I've never ridden a tandem. In fact, Pam, you're listening to this, you and I need to put that right. And we both need to ride a tandem together, and I could think of no one better to be my pilot than you.
I have actually come to Scotland.
or come to Scotland. I hear you've got a spare. Alison, maybe you and I needed to go to Achterada and then...
Pronunciation there.
Oh gosh. Alison's a beast up a climb too. Anyway, what I wanted to know though was, what's something about a tandem that someone that doesn't ride a tandem wouldn't know or wouldn't understand? Something that you'd only really understand once you get on it.
You both have to pedal.
Yes.
I think,
totally.
I think there's this perception that diet. I mean, that's where this joke thing, she's not pedaling on the back, comes from.
Yeah.
That I think the person on the back can sit with their feet up, reading a magazine or something. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things.
Yeah, and people really think that you don't have to pedal on the back.
The fact you both arrive at the same time surprises a few people, because obviously one of the reasons for people getting tandems genuinely is this idea of the husband and wife, the man and the woman, whatever the couple, whichever they are, going out on a cycle ride. And quite often, not necessarily always the male, but so I don't want to be sexist, but at the time we were riding, it was a lot of guys and women out, and the guy would blast off up a hill to show his macho style and get to the top of the hill,
and she comes up 10 minutes later.
Right to the top. And as soon as she gets to the top, naturally,
he takes off.
The man wants to move off again. So obviously, if you're both in a tandem, as I'm jokingly saying, but you obviously do, both arrive at the same time.
Perfect. It's interesting, actually, something you've just reminded me of. You're the second tandem couple I've met this summer. The other one was actually... I was dot watching the Transcontinental race, which is an ultra cycling race. It's I don't know if you've heard of ultra cycling before, but it's people doing phenomenal distances day after day after day after day after day after day after day, especially in the Transcontinental. But this year was it was the 11th edition of the race, but it was the very first time that a tandem was in the race. Normally tandems aren't allowed, but they made an exception for Gavin, who's got a visual impairment, and his mate Tom Butcher was the pilot. And I saw them on the day that they were going to tackle the Col de Tourmalet.
Oh.
It's ridiculous to think what they were doing. But what surprised me was neither of them had ridden the tandem before. Like, it's not like they'd ridden heaps and they'd do tandem rides together all the time and decided to take this on. This was hey, I think this race would be cool. Would you be up for doing it on a tandem? So, and what occurred to me was, you were mentioning it a bit with where you live in the Seven Hills. If it's something I've learnt from Pam, it's you do have double the people on a tandem bike, but it's double the weight on a heavier bike. And I imagine that gravity has a bigger impact when you're taking on inclines as well.
Correct. Going down, it's fantastic. You have the momentum is superb. And we noticed that yesterday. We were sailing past solo bikes coming downhill, but still going uphill. A lot of them were.
Well, as soon as you, especially on the classic bike, because as soon as you hit a hill, you lose all your momentum because you've got the weight of the two people on the one bike.
Yeah. Another thing is that you can't stand up to pedal. It just doesn't work. You've got to keep seated down. So
see, Tom and Gav were talking about that when I met them, because Tom mentioned he is a person that normally rides his bike standing to climb every now and then, and the fact that he couldn't, it just changes the way that you approach climbs. It obviously puts a different sort of load through your back and everything when you can't change position and things like that as well. Di, what's it like being on the back on a descent?
It's scary because, again, you can't see what's in front of you. I've got what he calls my placebo brake. There's a drum brake on the old bike, but this one's got the disc brakes. And it's got a drum brake as well, hasn't it?
No, you've got a proper brake.
I've got a caliper brake, which is like...
I'd be squeezing the life out of that caliper.
It won't stop the tandem, but it does help to stop it if you're going really fast. But yeah, it's quite scary because you can't see where you're going. I've got to trust Colin that he's not going to go so fast that he can't control the bike. Because you can get up to sort of 40 miles an hour going downhill.
I mean, that's one of the things that is about trust, and that's why a little bit surprised to hear about
that is the big thing.
The guys on this race, if they haven't tandemed before, because it's all about experience and kind of, knowing what the other person's doing. Because I can't always see what Di's doing, and quite often she'll maybe just like move in her seat or something, and I'll go, "What are you doing, Di?" Because you can feel it. You just intrinsically feel it on the handlebars that something different is happening.
So I've got to let them know if I'm moving. If I'm getting sore sitting in one position, I've got to say, right, moving or shifting. And that's what we're going to see too. Remember going down in Champagne one year, we were coming down the side of this mountain.
In the old bike.
And we had a drum brake and, the back and front caliper brakes. And I had my little placebo brake as well. And we're coming down, it was a Sunday, and we're coming down to a T-junction. and we were to turn very steep down, and we were to turn right. And when we getting down to the bottom of the hill, getting towards the junction, we couldn't stop the bike, and we couldn't stop at the junction. We had to keep going
straight through.
This is my nightmare personified. Oh my gosh!
And I hope that nobody
was really
coming.
scary.
So yes, there is a momentum thing
because we were fully loaded.
Yeah. There is a momentum.
Yeah,
there is a momentum thing. I think you have to be fairly, as you mentioned about being in sync. Mentally, we're fairly in sync. Physically, on the bike and stuff, and I think that makes a huge difference. I wouldn't like to, with all due respect, Bella, I was happy to take you out for a wee shot and all that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't like to do like 100 miles with you in the back, not having cycled with you before.
No, and like to me, there's such a big. Maybe that's Di. Maybe that's when you get to be the pilot. Maybe you can pilot me. I'm a scaredy cat on the downhills, Di. You'd have to squeeze those brakes hard because that placebo would be getting the work out of its life.
I don't like downhill.
Oh, we're a perfect pair. We're a great pair then. Sorry, Cole. The other thing I've thought of there is, and I mean, I get this a bit. My husband's my best friend, just like you two are at Peas in a Pod. I'm the same with my husband, Stephen, and we enjoy taking bike adventures together. Obviously, we're on two separate bikes, but one of the things that I've learned intrinsically from doing that is there are moments in a day or sometimes days where someone's up and someone's down and energies are at different levels. Someone's on a high, someone's on a low. And the benefit of having two of you is the other person, especially if they know you, they know when to not to speak. Sometimes silence is necessary, even from someone that talks like me. But also sometimes they know what to do to help you out and to help lift the mood, help take the burden, help with the, hey, let's stop here and have a timeout. Let's eat some food. I'm going to go get a coffee, whatever. So I imagine on a tandem, that's even more important because you're sharing the actual mechanics of moving forward as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can be fairly bloody-minded and determined, which probably got us through that Grand Depart Classic, which we'll tell our story about in due course. But I think we definitely do help each other along. You know, if I hear some moaning from the back, I think, come on, only another 5 miles to go and we'll have there's a coffee stop up there or there's an ice cream stop if it's the Canal de Midi. You're very encouraging as well about keep going. I think when you both hit that, what's it called? When you both bonk on the bike, which is obviously a difficult balancing act, but yeah, good joke and all that kind of stuff. The last stage of Canal de Midi for us was, where were we? What was the other medieval city? Béziers to Sète. And we stopped off at the end of the Canal de Midi where there's the lighthouse, and someone had said go for lunch in town about 5 kilometres up. Marcian. And someone had also mentioned that they happened to do lovely oysters from the local lake. So naturally we had to go up to this town and found a nice restaurant that did the local oysters, and we happened to have a bottle of Peak Pool wine, which apparently is just made 4 or 5, or just grown, the grapes are grown 4 or 5 kilometres away. So quite a boozy lunch, and you know the temperatures yourself at that point. It was hitting 30.
It was roasting hot. It was ridiculous. It was disgustingly hot.
The wine was perhaps not the best thing to have. No. We then went for a wine tasting, which is probably the second worst thing that we could have done after having the wine for lunch. Tasted red, white, rosé. We didn't obviously have a huge amount of that. We still consume a little bit. And then we thought it was maybe like, it's only about 8 miles to go into Sète. It was actually 18. So there was a bit of a miscalculation, and it was baking warm. We get to the outskirts of Sète, and there's this sort of, about 8 to 10 mile long beach that you can basically cycle along. So you've got the beach, and then you've got the cycle path, and then you've got a road, and then you've got a railway. Fantastic French infrastructure.
Hang on, I think I've been on this. When I went on it, I couldn't actually see the beach. Is that like the isthmus? There's like an isthmus. Yeah, and you can't actually see the sea. You can see bulrushes.
Yeah, that's right.
And you can't get the breeze from the sea, if there was any.
No.
So we're sitting along there, absolutely baking hot, no shade. Get into that, seen some buildings for Sète. I thought, they're there soon. But apparently Sète is quite a large city. And we didn't know this either. So we get to the outskirts, and I think Dad got our very best set of instructions ever. We're both really dehydrated by then.
Oh, absolutely.
Dad goes into a tabac, comes out with 4 cans of soft drink.
Did you have like an Orangina of life? I love Orangina in France.
Orangina. I don't like Coke, so it was Orangina. 2 each. The first one didn't hit the sides.
Nope. And then the second one was coming up. But you got the best set of instructions.
Oh, ever. I asked this lady for the Grand Hotel Tassigny in Sète. And, Tassigny, oui. So she takes me outside, points me in one direction, and she goes, à droite, à gauche, and
right, then left, and then
That's the one.
That's it.
And we got to the right street.
We were seriously in need of water and stuff by then. So,
but then the water in our bidons was tepid.
Oh yeah, it is. In fact, actually, the best thing I had happen to me during that heatwave when I was conducting my tour was we stopped in at some boulangeries and a tobacco. I'm trying to think where this was. I think this was on the day that we were heading to Carcassonne. It was baking hot and disgusting. And the lady at the boulangerie and the tobacco apologised because they didn't have ice to put in our bidons as they refilled them. But what they did instead was they put them in the deep freezer. So we were having our coffee and ice cream. Oh my gosh, it was the first time I've had ice cream at like 9:30 in the morning. And I remember this at a tobacco at Limoux, and the lady was like, "Oh, give me the bidons," refilled them and put them in the ice cream freezer. And I thought that was just such a love. Like, it's amazing because the tepid water is horrendous, isn't it?
Disgusting. It makes you feel sick.
Mm.
Yeah, no, that wasn't pleasant.
Something about your tours though is, and I definitely got this insight reading through the adventures you've taken from your blog, is they are very, very much based around, let's say, rehydration of certain sorts, food or wine, and going to a region specifically to seek out the regional, dishes or bottles of plonk. Yeah, well, is that something that both of you were intrigued by? Is that what inspires your travels? Because it's one thing to ride a tandem on a blind date, be besotted with tandem riding, take tandems for short trips, but I want to understand the bike travel side of it because there's obviously this food and wine element or beers or whatever attributed to the tandem tour. But what about that aspect? Like, how did you actually get to touring in the first place?
I'm going to show you something.
No, we can't. Video.
Oh, I can see it and I'll describe it. Show me. Yeah. It's just like the listeners are now the stoker on the tandem. Oh, okay. Is that like a pub or am I?
Hotel de Beaune.
Oh, okay.
And
yes.
That picture.
Pre-me.
Pre-Colin, and we put it on the wall. And we were sitting one day and I said to Colin, I wonder if there actually is a Hotel de Beaune. So Mr. Googled it, and we found a place called Beaune in France. But there isn't actually a Hotel de Beaune, but the hotel is the hospice, the hospice de Beaune. And we thought, that might be fun. And that's how it started.
Yeah. We decided to found that Beaune was in Burgundy, and strangely enough, we had a fairly good affinity for French wine before we started touring in France. Hick, don't get the wrong impression. Always drink responsibly. By the way, listeners, always drink responsibly.
I'll be responsible for you if you're responsible for me. Okay.
Okay.
I do.
Listen to you both. It's awesome.
We did this tour of Burgundy on Old Matilda and just loved it. Just 20, 30 miles a day at that time, just going from kind of one town to the next. And, of course, there happened to be one or two degustations along the way. And, of course, it was really fun because you would go into winery. They wouldn't necessarily have seen that you'd arrived on the bike at that point. And you'd go in and taste the wines. And, of course, usually the deal would be that maybe if you'd arrived by car, you'd just have a little sip song of the wine. But you would, or one of you would be drinking, one of you not. And you would obviously perhaps buy a few bottles to take with you if you liked the wine. But then, of course, we'd just have to say, well, thank you for the tasting. I'm sorry, we've got the tandem bike. Very most we could take is one bottle and back onto the tandem.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to actually buy their wine, which was...
That's a little hack, isn't it? There you go, listeners. You don't want to have to buy the wine, but you want to taste it. Turn up on a tandem.
Yeah.
This takes me back to a tour my husband and I did, and we were going from Cherbourg down to the Pyrenees. It was actually when we moved to France. We moved by bike, and we were in the Saint-Emilion wine region.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
But none of those wineries were open for tastings because the wines are too exclusive for just randoms off the street. So they're only open to market buyers because, a random off the street's not going to lump up €780 a bottle. So they're not going to just even give you a little dram of that away, are they?
Yeah.
I think it was that first tour, there was somewhere like that. It was actually open. It was quite a high village. And it was one of these hermetically sealed doors, like you had to press a bell thing, and then the door would go open and then close.
Clovis.
And it said, and people were rocking up and taking boxes of wine away. Probably realised then where we were. Could we taste a few? And of course, they start at the lower ones and end up at the Grand Cru and the Premier Cru. So I think we probably tasted 4 or 5, and it was exactly the same then. I said, look, we've got the Tandem.
Have you ever walked away with what's the most expensive bottle of wine you walked away with?
That would be, we were with...
I'm just going to find one over here, but what was it?
what was that?
It's probably about £100, €100.
Is that with John and Nancy?
The...
No, wait a minute. Oh, yeah.
Louis Saint-Georges, Louis Saint-Nord, Geoffrey Chambertin.
Geoffrey Chambertin. Yeah. That was Geoffrey Chambertin.
€100. So we pushed the boat out.
You've still got the bottle there. You're going to have to open it up.
No, still got the cork in it. There may have been more than one bottle.
Oh, we'll find an occasion for sure.
I have to tell you just to move slightly, but it is on cycle touring, because it was Canal de Midi. We'd arrived in Omp for the night, and apparently it's historically been a wine trading port on the Canal de Midi. And we got this beautiful chateau bed and breakfast, the Jardin de Omp.
Yeah.
Had a swimming pool, really lovely. And we'd said, what about this restaurant? And obviously, as they all do, they all have their favourite restaurant, which they obviously get a kickback from. And they said, no, you want to use this one. And we went, okay, we'll go there. Lovely outside, patio, sitting there, still the sun coming down. Di does the wine choosing for the evening meal.
Mm-hmm. And, it was a Michelin...
Michelin recommended.
Restaurant. Yeah, Michelin recommended restaurant. And they had a really nice wine list. And I said, well, I'm more of a red wine drinker. Colin's more of a white. But we do sort of swap over. So I was looking down the wine list and it just popped out at me. It was a wine called The Secret of Mathilde.
Oh, gosh, you've got to have that. Hello.
Yeah, so guess which wine we had.
Yeah. So, yeah, and just a quick end to that story. We really liked the wine. It's really lovely.
And obviously liked the story
liked the story of the wine. And when we came home, we thought, let's see if we can try and get some.
So I emailed one of the wine retailers in Omp. Did the whole, hi, I'm Colin. We ride a bike called Matilda. We've tasted your wine called The Secret of Matilda. Can we order some and pay for it and all that kind of stuff? And just got a very sharp reply back saying, no, Brexit, can't do, au revoir.
Aww.
But, as I did say, I'm fairly determined. I then contacted the vineyard. Same story, and they obviously had the guy who was reading it had a much better day. And he said, we can't really export to the UK, but I'm sure we can make this work. We can do it as a gift. If you send us the money, and we'll send you a gift of 12 bottles of wine. And that's what happened. We now have our own case of The Secret of Matilda wine.
Oh, I love it. And do you, well, hang on. The case still unopened? I nearly feel like every time you go on like a tour. No. Okay. When you come back from a tour, do you have like a bottle of The Secret of Matilda?
Well, we did. We also got this case, and I wouldn't say it was unopened. I think there's probably 9 bottles remaining, I think at the moment at this count. So it's our special occasion one.
Yeah.
Did you have a little tipple of it yesterday after doing the Tour de Four?
Not yesterday, but...
This is a missed opportunity. If you need someone to give you an excuse, just get in touch with me, Colin, and I'll give you a reason anytime.
Excuses.com.
You have actually toured with another couple who also ride a tandem as well. So it was like a tandeming duo, isn't it?
Yes,
My best friends, Jane and John. They haven't been in France with us, but we do tours in the UK with them. In fact, we're just back from one in Dumfries and Galloway. Beautiful part of the country that I had never been to. The very southernmost part of Scotland called Mull of Galloway. They're into the Prosecco picnics as well, so it works very well.
Oh, yes.
So there's always a Prosecco picnic on the go.
They have a semi-recumbent tandem.
I've seen photos of that. I'd never seen one of those before.
Haspino.
Yeah, so the pilot's on a recumbent, aren't they? And then you've got the stoker on like the conventional sort of setup, or is it the other way around?
It's the other way around.
So the guy sits up as if it's
a normal bike. He sits a normal bike at the back,
and
she sits with her feet out
at the front.
He does all the gear changing, and
she just pedals,
steering and braking. She pedals.
Wow! Did either of you ever have a go on it?
We have done it. Yeah, I didn't like it, but
I didn't like having my legs out in front of me. It was so exposed, and holding on to two handles at my, at my.
So hang on a minute. Is the recumbent on the front? Are they effectively the stoker and the person on the conventional bike is steering it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, no, that's weird. That's done my head in.
Okay,
it's just weird.
You come up to a road junction, and obviously
you'd both be able to see though.
Well, he would have to see, but then they're sticking out.
Oh, I don't like
and you think, if a lorry went past or something.
No, we didn't like
that at all.
No.
What's been your favourite tour that you've taken?
We liked Champagne, believe it or not. It was very, very hilly. We went back a second time. It was very hilly the first time with old Matilda. And we didn't. I think it was a bit of a clue. I think we were a little bit naive when you look at the map and it says La Montagne de Champagne. And I hadn't really done my proper French translation on that one. And we suddenly realised as we were trying to get from
Epernay to Reims.
Yep. That it was somewhat hilly, mountainous.
If you ever want to feel like you're in the mountains without climbing them, you need to check out a trail. Well, it's close. Well, actually, the V81 goes very close to my village. So I'm in the south of France. I'm in the Pyrenees, and there's the Vélo Sud or the V81, and it sticks to the foothills. As opposed to the mountains, but it crosses from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean, so that could be right up your alley there.
That sounds interesting.
That sounds
you go
good.
through the Basque country first, and there's some great food to be had there.
Yeah.
Obviously in Champagne, you were obviously tasting the Champagne, which was wonderful, and I may just happen to have been a case of Champagne. Went into the car boot on the way home, so keep that for very special occasions too.
When we're heading home, we put the bike top of the car and we go back and buy some wine.
Because I was going to ask you, how do you manage with the tandem over, like, travelling with the tandem? Because it's one of the things that I've brought up with other guests, and I felt it and other listeners have. I think it's one of the most stressful parts of bike touring is the travelling with the bike when you're not pedaling on the bike, like when the bike is in transition and, when you have to have it on other forms of transport. So on the car, I can understand would be a little bit easier, but have you ever had to have it on a train or anything like that?
Okay, so there's only one train in Scotland that you are allowed to put tandems on that goes up the west coast, and we did that just to try it. And it was a whole carriage which was given over to bikes, which was incredible.
That's fantastic.
Really, the way of bike travel and train travel should be. In France, I'm told, no tandems at all. So when we did the Canal du Midi, we drove to France, a fairly just like middle range size car, but there's a wonderful roof rack contraption that you buy when you buy a tandem, which basically comes off the roof and down to the side. Take the front wheel off, clip it onto this pivot arm, and lift the bike onto the roof. So basically, it's on the top of the car. You just have to remember that it's you can't go through low barriers.
Oh, everybody who rides a bike and hangs with people who ride bikes knows somebody who has done that. Into the garage. What's your system so you don't do that?
Big sign on the dashboard.
Piece of paper on the dashboard. Height.
And we both have to be awake so we remind each other.
Yeah.
Have you had some close calls?
No. We haven't gone. The only close call we had was in Toulouse because we were in a hurry to get the bike. We couldn't find somewhere to park. And we stopped beside this market right in the middle of Toulouse. and square. And we were in a hurry to get the bike off the top of the car so that we could put the car in the underground car park where it was being left.
I know the car park you're talking about at the Capitol, yes.
Yeah, Capitol. So we got the bike off the car, put it together, and I walked off with the bike. Colin was going to go and park the car, and then I was going to join him and go back and get the luggage and things, but just fair enough. So I walked off with the bike and Colin headed for the car park.
And we're going down the ramp, 2 or 3 cars behind me, fortunately, not many. And suddenly, and you see the barrier in front of you, you think, shit, sugar. There's a kind of central arm that still sticks up off this roof rack contraption.
Oh my goodness!
2 feet high, and that would have been mangled. So I just had to put the hazard on and stop, and much tooting of horns from behind.
To the reverse of shame.
Yeah, it only takes
just take it off.
It takes about a minute to take it off.
Yeah.
But
we don't drive around with that on, but we'd just been in such a hurry to get the bike off to get out of this busy square.
Listeners, I've been wearing Ombra's Refugio sunglasses on my rides lately, and I absolutely love them. Ombra's are an awesome brand. They have created sunglasses that don't have sidearms. Instead, they have this awesome rope system, which means that when you don't want the sunglasses on, you just take them off and they hang around your neck. You don't need to worry about losing them. What I love about the Refugio model is that when I'm going down a descent, they've got great coverage around my eyes, which means I'm not getting wind coming in from the side and making my eyes all stream up either. And you know what? They actually look pretty stylish. They're a bit of a conversation starter off the bike. I've given them to friends to try out, and everyone's always loved them as well. Anyway, if you want to try out a pair for yourself and actually support the brands that support the podcast, be sure to click the Ombra's link in the show notes. Now back to the episode.
So in Canal de Midi, we did Toulouse to Sète. So we left the car in Toulouse, cycled to Sète, and then we just had to leave the bike somewhere very safe in Sète and
catch the train back
to Toulouse.
Yeah, and then drive back.
Yeah, I mean, that was the price to be paid, was the ping pong journey, if you like.
I do hope that more trains get set up with that ability to take tandems. I know that there's another super van at the show, Sue Chappell. Hello, Sue. And Sue has done a lot of tandem riding over here in France. And I think, Sue, you have put a tandem on a French train, even though specifically perhaps you're not allowed to, and maybe they've turned the other eye. But the thing with that is it's always up to the conductor, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the case anyway in France sometimes. And sometimes you've just got to find out where that grey area is and just insist. Because often the reaction from someone in an officious position is always none. No. But you've got to move them from that default and just look desperate and say please and, you know, get them on their right side. Because, yeah, it does occur to me that travelling with a tandem would have its further complications. I guess there would be, are there tandems that decouple and become almost like single bikes? Well, not single bikes, but decouple into manageable portions like a single bike?
They come into 2 parts, but you have to take the chain off naturally and all that kind of stuff. But yes, it can be done for non-e-bikes. They can fly with them, take them on a plane. And all.
Because obviously the e-tandem, you're not taking it on a flight. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine a tandem on a flight. Finding a box that's big enough.
On the rail travel, we have taken on a few trains here in Scotland, but it's just your luck, as you say, of the guard or whatever. If you ask, the answer is no. But if you just busk it, there's a fair chance that you might get on. Out in France, we had a very tight timetable to get back home, and we had this vision of us standing on the station platform, the train drawing in, the guard saying, and the train going off and leaving us there. And then what do you do then? So we decided to play by the rules.
Yeah, we're not the kind of people that can just busk it. I mean, maybe if we were 40 years younger, but at our age, you know, with all the panniers on it and the uncertainty of getting on.
There's also the hardness of navigating, just even if you could get on the train, navigating a platform just with a single, normal, conventional bicycle is hard enough, yet alone a tandem, I could not imagine.
Even lifts and things are quite small.
You wouldn't get it in a lift, like you're upright. I mean, I had that I had that experience just with my normal bike, and you're upright and you're squeezing in and you're breathing in when the doors close and ducking down, and like you're a contortionist and thinking, how am I getting there? And, you end up with chain grease all over you. I mean, look, as every adventurer knows, sometimes it's the misadventures that bring the best tales, right?
Of course it is.
And these are the stories. But, travelling with a tandem, I imagine, is a bit more complex, let's say. It hasn't put you off, though, and I love that you're just think of your routes with that planning in mind. Like, who comes up with the routes? If it's not, like, is it Colin? Okay. There was a good pointing of the hand there, listeners, from Di to Colin.
We decide where we're going to go, which vineyard and which lovely hotels.
Yeah, we both decide where we're going.
And then it's a case of, believe it or not, the first couple of times we used the kind of package operator companies who
shift your luggage along.
Do all the booking for you and take your luggage. And that's fine, but it's quite expensive. And you're not always staying at the best, the hotel you would want to be staying in.
Yeah.
So what we do now is have a look at, so we decide the area, for example, the Canal de Midi, and obviously quite a few operators do that kind of package for the Canal de Midi. And very fortunately, most of them list the hotels and where they're going to be. So we just took the list of hotels and
looked at them.
Did a bit of research, a bit of Googling and all that kind of stuff. We always try and book. We don't do camping. Nowhere to plug Di's. Nowhere to plug Di's hairdryer in.
Nope.
And we don't like to rough it.
He's joking, by the way.
Yeah, you can plug stuff in. In fact, I've camped and seen people with e-bikes camping at campgrounds with electricity and recharging them as well. It can be done, but obviously only one of you semi-interested in camping. Like, Diane, would you camp? No, neither of you. Well, you're two peas in a pod.
That was one of the reasons we got together. We like life's luxuries.
Well, that's good. It's good to know what you like.
Yeah.
One of the rules of the Bible, the hymn sheet at the start, was no camping, and we haven't done so. Nor have any intention of doing so. So food, good, nice wine, nice hotels. Like to spoil ourselves, and
it's a holiday.
It's a holiday for us.
It's a holiday.
It's all pre-booked, so we know the disadvantage, of course, if it was here in Scotland or whatever the weather, you still have to go. So you can't just sort of hang around and not go. But it's nice knowing that your next destination. Quite often we've got the restaurant booked as well, so that if we're not arriving into the hotel till maybe 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon, having a quick shower, you know that you've got a meal sorted. But yes, we do like, we're good to each other. We like life's luxuries. And
absolutely.
The food, as you mentioned, the local food, the regional food is a big part of it. We'll always taste not always like it, but we'll always taste the local delicacy.
You must have had cassoulet in like Castle Nordry.
Cassoulet in Castle.
Yeah, you had cassoulet in
Castle Nordry, yeah.
Which was lovely.
We did have Alsace. You had the local.
Oh yeah, we were in Strasbourg, and we went to this lovely restaurant, and I had asked for something local, and it was a local sausage. Oh, is it andouille?
Oh, andouillette, yes.
Ripe.
Yeah, it is. My husband likes it. I'm not.
No.
Yeah, the first time he ordered it, he didn't know what he'd ordered, and then when he cut into the sausage, it all fell out. And he goes, "Oh, that's a bit different." He likes it. I'm mind over matter, and my mind it matters to my mind, so I'm not going there. Funnily enough, I don't remember an aroma about it, but I haven't gotten that close to it though.
No, tripe is disgusting, but I would sort of get me something local, trust the waiter.
And we also like the idea of the one thing we do is kind of free wheel at lunchtime in terms of we don't necessarily have a place identified, but there's always the Canal de Midi was the beautiful lock gates, weren't they? But we'd have a picnic lunch with us, if you like, all the constituent parts thereof.
Yeah, we go shopping in the morning.
Lunch, get some bread, get some ham, get some cheese.
I love nothing better than a pavement picnic. Yeah. Did you have a little openal in France as well? Like that's mandatory when you're in France. Have your little openal knife.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
All that
stuff.
You've got the kit. Everybody laughs because they bring out this little bag and it's got plates and a bottle opener and a set of plastic cutlery and.
I think it usually attracts quite a lot of attention as well. The salt and pepper grinder.
Get off. But we're not allowed to eat anything till Colin's photographed it. It's all got to be set out for this blog.
Colin, you did not occur to me to be one of those foodies. I love a good pavement picnic, though.
Of the touring, because albeit you can't, Di can't take her 15 different outfits for the evening, but we, because obviously we've got restricted to basically 4 panniers. So one's usually got the cycling kit, and one's got toiletries, and one's got some clothes for me, and one's got some clothes for you.
And then there's the bag with the medication. It's getting bigger.
But you do have it figured out. Like, there is a distinct packing thing here. But back to the pavement picnic. Remember when I mentioned my friend Pam before?
Yeah.
She and her husband Liam has toured with me and my husband many times. We're called Goonbag Adventurers, the Goonies. If you're in Australia and you know what a goonbag is, if you don't, a goonbag is cask wine. The reason we're the Goonies is because the first bikepacking trip we did was to the high country in the Snowy Mountains, and we hauled up a goonbag and managed to drink a lovely, lovely cask red wine, which Liam then used the empty cask as his pillow. So the Goonies were born. But one of my distinct memories when we were travelling all together in France was a great pavement picnic slap up of a dinner that we each had in Bergerac. And I can remember it distinctly. We had beautiful supermarket tabbouleh oriental. We had bread, of course, and cheese. There probably would have been some form of pate and maybe some smoked chicken or something that you could buy. I remember distinctly always insisting we needed to have something healthy, so we'd have like cut up pieces of carrot or peppers. Because there's got to be some sort of vegetable there, and then, of course, some local plonk. But I want you to tell me, what would a typical pavement picnic look like? If you're not at a restaurant, what are you bringing out to eat?
Oh, yeah.
What's the lunch normally?
Lunch is bread, definitely a couple of cheeses, definitely patty from a deli, cold meat of some description, olives, and a big tub of grapes if we can find them, because in France they don't have grapes as a fruit. They have grapes for wine, but it's very seldom you can buy a tub of dessert grapes.
No. Well, see, the regions you're travelling to, all the wine regions, I mean, you're not going to get any tasting grapes there, are you?
Exactly. And I think they buy in dessert grapes.
Yes, that's right.
They buy them in from Spain.
And of course, you've forgotten about the key constituent
part.
Well, the
key constituent.
Although we call it a Prosecco picnic, trademark pending, is
it's cremant.
Whatever the local delicacy may be, whether that be white wine, red wine, cremant,
we always have a bottle of
wine.
But we have a cap for it. We don't always finish it.
It's one of the most. If one of your questions is what is the most underused items in your Tandem kit,
it's your wine saver cap. I love it. Oh, very, very good. And listeners, did you see how I easily managed to mention food on the podcast and wine on the podcast? I have to do it for every episode, Colin and I, so we've done that quite seamlessly here.
Yes.
I want to segue to something that's I guess, more serious than what we've been talking about. And Colin, that's your situation and your health situation.
Yeah.
I think the best way to talk about it is to bring up how you first spoke about it. Personal announcement from Matilda's Musings Tandem crew. We are facing our toughest ever personal challenge as I've been devastatingly diagnosed with life-limiting stage 4 prostate cancer. Toward the end of last year, the bottom fell out of our amazing life together after I went to the doctors with a mild urinary infection. After a rapid series of tests, scans, biopsies, we received the unfathomable news that I had stage 4 prostate cancer. This was just days after 6-time Olympic gold medalist cyclist Sir Chris Hoy went public with his terminal diagnosis. My oncology consultant actually used the phrase that my condition was almost identical to Chris Hoy, including the prognosis and projected timescales. As we try to come to terms with his living with cancer, the medics have emphasised how crucial our tandem cycling is to help maintain bone strength and muscle mass. That's got to be, talk about things coming out of left field.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to go through that. Speaking to you here the last hour, I can see you're a couple that's full of energy, enthusiasm and laughs. What's it been like to navigate this part of your journey together?
Hell. 2 years ago, we were out in France. We did Alsace and Champagne. And I didn't feel right in Champagne. I just thought it was like a chest infection or something. I couldn't put my finger on it. And we let that go. And literally late September last year, one episode of blood in my urine, and obviously, clearly that's never good news. Went to the doctors and they did the kind of, it'll just be a urinary infection, all that kind of stuff. We'll run a few tests, took a couple of blood tests, get you some, what do you call it?
Antibiotics.
Antibiotics if it's an infection. Don't worry about it, it'll be fine. So they do this, what's called a PSA test, which is one of the big things that Chris Hoy's going on about. Get a PSA test from your doctor. And he says over 45, kind of trying to campaign for 50, I think it is as well.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the earlier detection, the better the outcome can be. It's called a specific antigen, what's it called? PSA, what's it called? Anyway, it doesn't matter. S is specific and A is antigen. So it must be prostate specific.
Oh, that'll be it.
And so they do that test, and we'd be out for a cycle ride on the Monday. Went for a blood test in the afternoon, just the local docs. Must have been about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And by 7 o'clock the next morning, my doctor's on the phone trying to get hold of me. I think, that's not good news, is it?
Mm-hmm.
You don't normally have a doctor phoning you directly before 7 o'clock in the morning, especially in Scotland. So he didn't, for whatever reason, we didn't connect at that point. It was later in the day. So your PSA, if you're a kind of a normal, healthy person, it should be something like between 0 and 4. Mine was 282.
Whoa.
So, yeah, that sends you down this path of numerous scans, as you were mentioning there, and biopsy. And then it was Halloween, the 31st of October. You never forget that date. We'd obviously kind of braced ourselves for it, kind of fairly certain it was some form of cancer. But when you go into this grey room and there's someone sitting at the side, and then the consultant comes in and it's not the person sitting at the side, and what's that person sitting at the side for? I don't know if you've read Chris Hoy's book, All That Matters. He talks about exactly the same scenario, and obviously this other person's there to mop up the pieces, shall we call it. Consultant comes in and delivers this sentence in about 90 seconds. Sorry to tell you, stage 4 terminal prostate cancer, 2 to 4 years, and your life's just lying on the floor at that point.
Are you both together? Like, were you on your own in this?
No, we were.
No, we're both there.
Oh,
but still, our lives lying on the floor, effectively at that point. So, yeah, I mean, just very difficult to navigate. They mentioned as we left that we should get in touch with an organisation called Maggie's. I don't know if it registers in Europe or abroad, but in Britain there's a whole series of Maggie's cancer care centres. Didn't really know anything about it at the time. There's one right across from the hospital in Dundee. And went in, told the story, and you're given this complete wonderful warm welcome, blanketing welcome, and it's just been absolutely amazing and giving me a helping hand every step of the way, really, and explaining things just at that stage when you think your life is completely over. They help you kind of turn that round into thinking that, okay, yes, your life is going to be over, but there's a lot of living to be done between now and then, and obviously these timescales are only just like guesstimates. We're on the best possible medication package, drugs and medication package, and that's keeping it at bay at the moment. We're having regular blood tests, and they're all on the extremely good side. So it's just a case of, as we say, living life to the full, basically. The Chris Hoy message of get out there and live every minute of every day, and changing perceptions of what can actually be achieved.
Yeah.
While having a stage 4 diagnosis. Because a lot of people think, well, that is my life over. But as I say, I think there's a lot of life to be living since then. And I think that whole process took us to the fact that I think it was around about Christmas time. I obviously had liked various things like Prostate Cancer UK and all that kind of stuff on social media just to get as much information as you can. You want to be a sponge at that point. And this thing came up about we're looking for people to do the first stage of the Tour de France and what they call the Grand Depart Classic a week before the Tour de France itself starts in Lille, before the pros, professional cyclists did it. And looking for people to sign up to this, 115 miles in a day. So we had a conversation with my glamorous assistant, and you said yes.
I did. Mm-hmm. No, we'll do that.
We'll do it.
Which is the longest ride you've done in a day, isn't it? If I remember correctly. Like it's off the scale, right?
5 miles. We had to do sort of a serious training thing, and we got up to about 85 miles.
Which is a hell of a long distance.
Yeah.
For those of us that work in kilometres, it's a long
150 miles
way.
a day is a long, long way. And
is that like 200 kilometres? It would nearly be 200 kilometres.
185?
180 something.
Yeah. Close enough with rounding. Come on
now.
now.
Tell me, when you're training for a marathon, if you're running, you shouldn't actually do the whole distance. So we took that on board, and we did up to 85 miles in a day.
So if we can do that, we can do the whole thing.
Got out to Lille the weekend before the Tour de France started. There was about 150 of us, all with prostate cancer shirts on. Not everyone was. In fact, it was only 3 stage 4 people. A lot of people were doing it in support of people who had prostate cancer, or in the nastier side of it, in memory of people. But the race, 250,000?
250,000,
with 150 cyclists. That's quite a lot of money. But it was tough. We took about 11 hours, 11 and a half hours. We did 12 miles an hour, which I thought was pretty good. Given that the last 7 miles, the batteries kicked out, they just had enough.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm just picturing an e-tandem with no batteries.
No batteries, heavy bike.
Heavy is the word you're looking for. No, there's a magic.
Hefty.
Hefty
lass.
Before heavy.
You can bleep out.
Fucking heavy. I'll say it for you.
And of course, we're fairly well knackered by that point. You're glad to know we didn't have a Prosecco picnic that day.
No, we did not.
We were very focused. And so the last 7 or 8 miles.
Maybe that's actually what you needed.
Probably.
And then, in their infinite wisdom, the end of that particular route was through the centre of Lille about 5 o'clock on a Saturday evening, absolutely jammed with cars. And there's in France, obviously, they're trying to get rid of a lot of the cars, and it's mostly psychopaths, but they still have a lot of traffic lights. We must have gone through about 20 sets of traffic lights.
Easily.
And every single one of them was at red. And so it was stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. But we got back, and we did it. We had a bottle of Prosecco later, by the way.
We did. And there was 2 category climbs in that.
3.
Oh, there's 3.
3 Tour de France.
Category.
It was a full first stage that the guys did a week later. Interesting point was that we took it about 11 and a half hours. What do you call them?
Who cares what they took? Who cares? Seriously. I live at the base of many Tour de France climbs, Col and I, and I can pretty much at least half the time, or, whatever they do up a mountain climb, at least double it, if not more, and maybe I'm there. It's ridiculous. They ride up the climbs as if it's a flat. They ride up the climbs faster than I can do on the flat sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
One of them was the cobbles, which was even more interesting.
Oh, wow.
Then the batteries kicked out at the end, but we got there in the end, and amazingly we managed to raise £7,500 between us for Prostate Cancer UK.
That's a phenomenal effort as well.
We were somewhat knackered afterwards, and
got over the line and I burst into tears. Just relief that we were finished, and it was just.
But it just shows what can be, going back to that point of changing perceptions, it just shows what can be achieved with a little bit of bloody-mindedness, a bit of effort, a bit of support, obviously, massive support from my glamorous assistant.
That's you, Di. Can I ask, when something just comes out at you like that, and you said, you're not expecting this diagnosis, you're given it, and speaking with you now, and when I first met you there at the Lock Gate near Toulouse, like I said, the thing that drew me was your energy, your laughter, your outfits, your tandem, all of that sort of stuff, and the decision to keep on living. Has your perception and your perspective shifted as well from that? Like you said you were put in touch with this lovely organisation, was it Maggie's?
Maggie's.
Have you always been that positive mindset? Because my perception of you when I met you was positive, optimistic, lovely people, but would that be your default, or have you learnt to make that your default, and has that laser focused you on living?
Well, I think going back, since we've been together 30 years, we've always been fairly positive. We've had quite a lot of things thrown at us during that time, and we've kind of Tefloned them off, dealt with them, and kind of moved on. Maybe that's easier if there's just 2 of us. Obviously, there's children, older children. But it's easier if it's just the 2 of us. And I think when you're given that news, yes, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bed of roses every day. I think a lot of the stuff you mentioned there about positivity and the tandem outfits and all that kind of stuff, some of that's a bit of a mask to try and deflect from the daily grind, because even if you're out enjoying yourself in a tandem, you still have this concoction of medication to take in the morning, and your what do you call it, your pinprick thing for your diabetes and all of these things. That's all got to be factored into it. So I would say it's a roller coaster. You try and be as positive as you can, but obviously there are down days. And you think about the worst case scenario when, I suppose maybe when you're on a tandeming holiday, you're always going to have aches and pains. I'm sure you're aware of that yourself, or in terms of your solo bike.
They're sort of to be expected, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean is you would simply put that down as an ache and pain of a cycle trip.
Yeah.
But obviously with my diagnosis, my hip's away again. My hip's sore. Wonder what that is. And everything you have, a cold, anything you have, is, I wonder if that's anything to do with the big C. And you just, there's no way around that. Keep trying to be as positive as possible. I think it takes a while to get into that time frame. Again, reading Chris Hoy's book, he said it took him a year. In fact, it took him a year before he went public with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before he went public with his diagnosis, before he could face the world. And obviously he's done a complete volte-face and gone the other way and been Mr. Positive. But I'm sure there are times in Chris Hoy's house with his lovely wife that he is not Mr. Positive.
Because he's a human.
Yeah, exactly.
The public faces, I'm this positive person. I mean, I try to follow that to a certain extent, but it's not always possible. But, one of the things was that they kept mentioning this thing right away about, exercise is a huge part of longevity.
Mm-hmm.
And it stops, obviously, the bones from decaying and all that kind of stuff. And said, cycling, absolutely brilliant for it. Tandem cycling, well, yes, of course. I mean, obviously, that's part of cycling. So it became a new focus, if you like. Even if it was slightly wet or whatever on a Sunday, when we normally go out, or a Monday, we would go out because we felt it was doing, or we do feel, not past tense, I'm still here. We do feel it's doing something positive. It's something that we can do to help.
It's almost like a different form of medication that you're taking.
Yes.
Going for your ride is part of your routine now to keep as healthy as you can. Like, what's in your control when you're able to do that?
So there have been studies recently publicised here in the UK that actually show, the first time ever, some empirical evidence of increasing longevity for cancer sufferers. And again, that's at the back of our mind, and we try and put the ultimate end of the journey to one side and very much focus on living for today.
Definitely. Yeah.
Has it given you thoughts? Like, how do I want to word this? Well, actually, I've got something to say beforehand. I'm not someone that's often lost for words, as you can probably tell. I'm an extrovert. I run a podcast. I host it. I talk to people and chat quite happily all the time. It's something that I'm very aware of, is that I struggle knowing sometimes the right words, the right questions, the right ways to phrase things, worried about saying the wrong thing.
There are no wrong ways to talk about this. What
would your advice be? Like, what are the sort of things that you would want people to be saying about this? I guess I know it's a weird question. But
about us.
Yeah, how would you want people to react? But also, what's the perception that you want to give people off?
Just that you can have loads of fun, and you can have lots of energy, and people want people to be genuinely asking about my condition, but we'll try and answer that in the first few seconds and move off and say we're cracking on with it and getting on with life, and we'll be given this sentence, if you like, of the time scale, but we're going to use every part of it. That kind of thing of like when we just keep booking loads of things at the moment, concerts, people we want to see, travelling places we want to go.
Freaking yes. That's exactly what I want to hear. Abso-freaking-lutely.
We've already got next summer's tour kind of semi-planned. We're going to do
now you've got to come and do the Velo Sud in the, the Atlantic to the Mediterranean. I mean, hello.
We're going to do the Loire, not from the source, but from, is it Nevers? Out to the Atlantic is next summer's.
Brilliant. And just to keep doing, like, I feel like that's, like I said, I feel like it's almost like the elephant in the room. You don't know how to discuss it. Like, you know its presence is there and you sort of have to give it the 2-finger salute and keep on going in a way.
I think the worst thing is that people don't ask.
Yeah, because I've heard that, Colin, before, like in a entirely different situation where someone's lost, someone's passed away, and then people don't know how to, they don't even mention it, and then it's like they never existed, whereas that's not the right thing to do.
No.
Or in Scotland, they'll cross the street and to make sure they don't bump into you.
Oh, no. I hope that's not been the case.
No, and it's not. I'm just saying that's the kind of perception and all. A lot of people don't know how to handle it themselves, which is amazing. At the Maggie's organisation, there's a men's group, and it's all about people's experiences and what they're going through. There's a guy, for example, whose best man basically heard about his diagnosis and phoned them up and said, "Look, I can't be your friend anymore, basically, because of what you're going through." And said, "Well, wait a minute, it's me that's going through
what?
Not you." So fortunately, we haven't had that. We've had a few people not interested in us, and had to say to them, "By the way, we need to ask, or maybe ask Di about me." And it's like, "Hello, speak to the boy in the wheelchair."
It's quite a common thing, isn't it?
It's common.
People will ask someone's partner how they are because they don't want to talk to the person themselves in case they upset them, or or are maybe told too much that they don't want to hear. I don't know.
Don't ignore you. You're still here and you're still very much living.
Yeah. So let's sort of move back to the positive aspects of it all. And we've been given this opportunity. Di retires from her hair salon in
end of March,
beginning of April. And that's going to give us lots more time to get out there. So we're going to be out there a lot more regularly on E-Matilda.
As you would say in Scotland, you'll be oot and a boot. Oot and a boot.
Oot and a boot. Scooting a boot.
Scooting a boot. What's the other one? Ochai the new? I'm not even sure what that means. Why am I saying that out loud? I'm sorry to every single Scottish person I know.
That's one of those ones that...
Long may your lung reek is what I want to do, which is long may your chimney continue to smoke. So, yeah.
I have to mention it, but it's so not relevant. It's a new Scottish saying I learnt while I was in Northern Ireland, of all places. And it was from my husband's Uncle Noel. And I think it was pick your windy, which is about pick your window, you're leaving.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is is that sort of like where you've overstayed your welcome? It's like, get out. Which window do you want to be flung from?
No, get out.
Either get out yourself, or you can choose window 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Pick your window.
Which one you're going to get thrown through. But we're just going to keep going as long as we can. There's obviously going to be a day that we're not going to be tandeming. I'm going to fight that off for as long as possible because I think that's very much of what we're about.
Absolutely.
And we're just going to keep that positivity going and have different goals and different things to look forward to.
Well, if we get to the stage where we can't deal with the hills as well as we are at the moment, then we just take the bike somewhere flat.
You know what? If I can get myself up to Scotland somehow, I definitely want to take you up on the meeting you and getting a go on the tandem. And if for some reason I can't and you're anywhere near my part of France, I'd love to bump into you again. There's something I believe intrinsically, and that is about serendipity. And it honestly feels, Colin Dye, that it was a moment of serendipity for me to stop at that lock house, decide I needed ice cream, and to sit next to you and to just chat and say hello. And I've learnt so much about you. I learnt so much about you doing my online stalking of you yesterday, researching about every single thing you've done, so I knew what to ask. But yeah, I would love the opportunity to catch up with you again, and I'm so pleased that I've been able to have this opportunity to listen and hear more of your story as well. Because I think there are a lot more Prosecco picnics to be had.
There are definitely lots more of Matilda's adventures. I did notice, by the way, I do actually notice that you were stalking us yesterday because we get pings about the stats for the blog and Fran's ping.
You'll have some more for about an hour before the session. Just getting my dates right. Let me check this out. Oh my gosh, I could speak to you forever, but I do need to wind things up.
Yep.
And I do that by asking the same 3 questions. The first one is music related, and that is, you're both guests of the podcast now, which means you get to choose a song which goes onto the Seek Travel Ride music playlist. Listeners, it's available on Spotify and Apple Music, and I have got links to it in the podcast show notes description. But if you could pick one song to be the soundtrack to Matilda's adventures, what song would you pick?
Well, it's a no-brainer for us, and it's a song by Paul Carrack, and it's called "Don't Wait Too Long."
Oh, obviously a no-brainer. That's giving me goosebumps. I don't even know the song. I was half thinking you were going to say Waltzing Matilda.
Well, you could have that as a second choice. So it's not Waltzing Matilda, it's Daisy.
Maybe I am an Aussie. I could just add it on for you.
Paul Carrack and Don't Wait Too Long. That's our new theme song.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, second last question. You're given a choice one day, Colin and I. You can choose to turn left, but you'll be riding on the most bumpiest corrugated washboard surface of a road of your life all day long. No relief. Or you can turn right, but you're going to be riding into the most brutal headwind that's unrelenting all day as well. Which one are you going to choose?
Oh, my goodness. Especially given the current circumstances, it sounds as if left would be the, came out of left field, as they say, the bumpy road ahead. But I think because we're embracing it head on, he says, cleverly trying to use some of the words you were using. And with our battery power on E-Matilda, it would have to be into the headwind.
Yeah, well, actually, Cole, it's only you into the headwind, Diane. You, that's one thing. You don't get to see anything that's going on, but you at least don't have to worry about the wind, right?
Down.
Yeah, Dyson, it's a lovely day today, as my face is like, oh.
Love it. Okay, Team Headwind, I have got you down. And the final question, and that is, I want you to finish this sentence for me, and you do finish each other's sentences, so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And that is, I want you to finish the sentence for me, and the sentence is, the best thing about taking a bike adventure is?
Spending time with my amazing wife, Di.
I was just about to say, doing it with my best friend.
Who's that?
Was that Matilda or is that Colin? Oh, they've just given each other a kiss. I've just gotten goosebumps again. It's warming my soul. What a beautiful, perfect response. And
cheesy.
Cheesy indeed. You can have some cheese and crackers. It's that time. At your next Prosecco picnic. Oh my goodness. Di and Colin, what an absolute trip it's been. I feel like I've gone on a little mini tour myself. I nearly need to have some Prosecco tonight too, right?
Yeah.
What an absolute pleasure. As I mentioned before, life gives you moments of serendipity, and I honestly feel it was a moment of serendipity that brought the three of us to be sat at the same bench together. Hearing your story has been great. From the first blind date tandem, buying a tandem 4 weeks later, getting married and using the tandem as an altar, and all of the awesome adventures that you've taken ever since, and all of the awesome adventures ahead of you.
Definitely.
I cannot wait to read about how the Loire Valley treats you next year, what sort of new additions you'll have on your next Prosecco picnic. And as I said, I really hope that I can somehow get up there and see you or see you somewhere on a tandem ride as well. Life is for living. You're taking it on and you're living every moment of it. It's clear that you two were meant to meet each other and meant to ride bikes together or a bike together. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and experiences here on the podcast for Seek Travel Ride.
It was a pleasure.
Lovely. Thank you very much
Thank
for having
you.
us. And I love your energy too. And yeah, I think very like-minded people. It was lovely to have met on the Canal de Midi and then end up doing this. So
and hopefully we'll meet up sometime soon.
Thank you very much.
There we go, listeners. I hope that you are absolutely as energized as I am after speaking with Colin and Di and hearing their incredible story. Has it actually got you wondering about maybe having a go on a tandem yourself? As I mentioned in the podcast, it's not something I've done, but I would say it's not something I've done yet. I am keen to explore that. Overwhelmingly, though, the biggest message that I could take away from Colin and Di is They are like two peas in a pod. They are definitely a couple made for each other, and I could see the happiness and energy radiate off them. But the diagnosis is a serious one, and I could also visually see that on their faces. We spoke a little bit after recording where I was mentioning that whole thing where often people don't know what to say to people in this situation, and Colin and I both mentioned something which is important, and that is just say something. Just say something. Don't ignore people. Don't be absent from them. Someone's going through something, say something. And I think the other overwhelming message has been life is for living, and that is a message that I felt overwhelmingly from Colin and Di. They were very realistic about it as well. It's not like they're energetic, happy-go-lucky people every single hour of the day, and I'm sure that they have had their down days too. But to hear them planning ahead for their tour of the Loire and many Prosecco picnics to come fills me with joy, and I think it's the overwhelming message that I want to take from both of them on this show. I've provided links to their beautiful online blog, which I encourage you to check out, as well as their Facebook page. So give them a follow and let's watch their adventures play out. Listeners, if you're enjoying what I'm putting together here on the podcast at Seek Travel Ride and you want to support me and the podcast, you can do so by buying me a coffee. Simply head to buymeacoffee.com/Seek Travel Ride. Buy me a virtual coffee, but more importantly, let me know what is it that you love about the episodes and where is your next bike adventure going to take you. And until the next episode, I'm Bella Malloy. Thanks for listening.